Hello, dear friend. Have you ever found yourself scratching your head, wondering why some people make choices that leave everyone worse off, including themselves? It's the kind of thing that keeps you up at night, isn't it? We've all met someone who seems to stumble through life, leaving chaos in their wake without even a hint of personal gain. Maybe it's a coworker who derails a project with a terrible idea, or a leader whose decisions tank an entire organization. Today, I want to take you on a journey into a fascinating theory that sheds light on this perplexing behavior. It's a theory that claims something bold. Stupid people are more dangerous than criminals. Yes, you heard that right. Not the thieves or schemers, but the ones who bumble through life without a shred of logic might just be the real threat. This idea comes from Carlo Cipolla, an Italian economic historian with a knack for dissecting human behavior in ways that hit you right in the gut. He didn't just toss out opinions. He built a framework that's as brilliant as it is unsettling. Cipolla sorted people into 4 groups based on how their actions ripple out to themselves and others. The intelligent, the bandits, the unfortunate, and the stupid. The intelligent create wins for everyone, like the friend who always has your back and still thrives. Bandits, well, they're the criminals we're used to thinking about, taking what they can while leaving you empty-handed. The unfortunate try to help but mess up, often with a good heart, but a bad plan. And then there's the stupid, those who cause harm to others and get nothing out of it, not even a crumb for themselves. Cipolla contends that the group he identifies as stupid poses a greater threat than even the most cunning criminals. Why? Their actions lack any logical foundation. Criminals, despite their misdeeds, follow a distorted reasoning, typically rooted in greed or a thirst for power that can be foreseen. In contrast, stupid people act without purpose or benefit, rendering their behavior erratic and challenging to oppose. In the upcoming sections, we'll analyze Cipolla's 5 laws of stupidity and investigate how this frequently ignored characteristic can significantly affect both individual lives and society as a whole. By understanding these ideas, you may discover strategies to handle life's obstacles more effectively and avoid unnecessary troubles. Let's start with those 4 groups Cipolla laid out, because they're the foundation of everything we're about to explore. The intelligent are the gold standard. They lift everyone up, including themselves. Picture someone who starts a business that creates jobs and still turns a profit, or a mentor who guides you to success while growing wiser in the process. They're the ones we all aspire to be, right? Then you've got the bandits. Think of a con artist who swindles you out of your savings. They win, you lose, and the math is brutally clear. The unfortunate are trickier. They mean well but fumble the execution. Maybe it's a parent who pushes you toward a career you hate, thinking it's for your own good, only to watch you struggle. Their heart's in the right place, but the outcome isn't. And then there's the stupid. These are the folks who leave you dumbfounded, wondering, why would anyone do that? They're not out to get you like a bandit would be. They're not even out to get anything at all. They just ruin things. Imagine someone who spreads a rumor that tanks a friendship, only to end up ostracized themselves. No reward, just wreckage. Cipolla argued that this group is the real menace, not because they're evil, but because their actions defy the basic rules of cause and effect we rely on to navigate the world. A criminal's selfishness you can counter. Lock your doors, guard your wallet. But how do you protect yourself from someone who doesn't even know why they're swinging the wrecking ball? That brings us to Cipolla's 5 laws of stupidity, a set of principles that peel back the layers of this bizarre human flaw. The first law hits you with a reality check. We all underestimate how many stupid people are out there. You walk through life assuming most folks are rational, that they weigh pros and cons like you do. But Cipolla says nope. Stupidity is everywhere, lurking in places you'd never expect. Look back at moments in history, like when entire nations rallied behind ideas that were doomed to collapse. Those weren't just the fringes. They were everyday people, bakers, teachers, neighbors, caught up in something senseless. It's a humbling thought. The crowd around you might not be as reasonable as you hope. Next up, the second law shakes things up even more. Stupidity doesn't care about your resume. It's not tied to how many degrees you've got or how much money's in your bank account. It's like a rogue gene that can pop up anywhere. You've probably seen it. A brilliant scientist who falls for a scam, or a wealthy CEO who tanks their company with a boneheaded move. Stupidity isn't about being uneducated. It's a glitch in behavior that can strike even the sharpest minds. That's what makes it so slippery. You can't spot it by looking at someone's credentials or IQ score. The third law is where the rubber meets the road. A stupid person causes damage to others while gaining nothing themselves. This is the heart of why they're so dangerous. A bandit robs you and walks away richer. Crummy for you, sure, but at least you get why they did it. Stupid people don't even have that excuse. Think of a politician who pushes a policy that wrecks the economy, loses public trust, and still doubles down. No one wins. Not them. Not you. Not anyone. It's loss for the sake of loss. And that lack of purpose is what sets stupidity apart from every other kind of harm. Then there's the fourth law, a warning we'd all do well to heed. Rational people consistently misjudge how destructive stupidity can be. You see someone acting irrationally and think, oh, they'll figure it out, or it won't get that bad. But Sapola says you're wrong, dead wrong. Stupidity has a knack for snowballing, especially when it's backed by confidence or power. Ever watched a group of smart folks follow a terrible idea off a cliff because no one spoke up? That's the trap. We assume logic will win out, but stupid actions don't play by those rules. They just keep breaking things until there's nothing left to break. Finally, the fifth law ties it all together. A stupid person is more dangerous than a bandit. Criminals have a playbook, self-interest guides their every move, so you can plan around it. Stupid people don't. They're loose cannons, firing off chaos without a target or a reason to stop. A bandit might take your cash and call it a day. A stupid person will burn down your house, their house, and the whole neighborhood just because they didn't think it through. It's that lack of boundaries, that endless potential for pointless harm, that makes them the bigger threat. So why does this matter? Why does stupidity outrank criminality on the danger scale? Let's break it down. First, there's the unpredictability. You can't prepare for what doesn't make sense. A criminal's moves follow a pattern. Secure your valuables, avoid dark alleys, and you've got a shot at staying safe. But stupidity? It's a curveball every time. 1 minute everything's fine. The next you're dealing with a mess no one saw coming. It's like trying to dodge raindrops in a storm. You're soaked before you even know it's pouring. Then there's the sheer scale of the damage. Criminals tend to keep it local, a robbery here, a scam there. Their impact stinks, but it's usually contained. Stupidity, though, has no such limits. When it catches fire, it spreads fast and far. Think of a company brought down by a single dumb decision, or a society torn apart by a wave of irrational fear. The fallout isn't just bigger. It's messy, harder to clean up because there's no logic to trace back and fix. It's destruction with no blueprint. Another piece of the puzzle is how stupidity refuses to regulate itself. Criminals hit a wall when the payoff stops. They're not in it for charity, after all. But stupid people keep going, digging deeper holes for no reason at all. They don't learn from the wreckage because there's no goal to adjust. It's like watching someone crash a car, then climb back in and crash it again, over and over, with no clue why they're even driving. That relentless, aimless energy is what makes them so hard to stop. And here's the kicker. Stupidity is contagious. It feeds on emotion, fear, anger, blind loyalty. And once it takes hold, it pulls others in. Ever seen a crowd cheer for something you knew was doomed? That's stupidity doing its thing, turning reasonable people into foot soldiers for chaos. Criminals don't have that kind of pull. They're lone wolves or small packs. But stupidity can rally a mob, and that's when the real trouble starts. It's not just one person's mistake anymore. It's a tidal wave of bad choices crashing over everything. Let's ground this in the real world for a moment, because history and life are full of examples that bring Sapola's point home. Take Nazi Germany. Not to be heavy right off the bat, but it's a star case. Millions of everyday people backed a regime that promised glory and delivered ruin. They weren't all monsters or masterminds. Many were just caught up in a collective fever of irrationality. The result? a war that leveled their own country alongside countless others. No one gained, everyone lost, and yet they kept marching forward. That's stupidity in action. Massive, senseless harm with no upside. Closer to today, you see it in the way some folks cling to ideas or leaders that defy reason. Smart, educated people, doctors, lawyers, you name it, sometimes throw logic out the window to defend a figure who's clearly steering them wrong. Maybe it's a politician whose policies hurt the very people cheering them on, or a celebrity whose advice leads fans to ruin. They're not profiting from their loyalty. They're just digging in deeper, dragging everyone down with them. It's baffling until you remember Sepola's laws. Stupidity doesn't need a reward to keep going. Even in smaller moments, you felt this. Ever had a friend who doubled down on a bad choice, like staying in a toxic job, despite all the red flags? You try to help, they push back, and in the end, they're worse off and you're exhausted. That's the stupid dynamic at play. Loss for them, frustration for you, and no one's better for it. Multiply that by 1,000, and you see how it scales up to wreck whole communities or nations. So what do we do with all this? Is it just a grim diagnosis of humanity, or is there a way to grow through it? Here's the good news. Sepola wasn't a doomsayer. He believed rational people, you and me, the ones who think things through, have the upper hand in numbers. The trick is using that edge wisely. Step 1 is spotting stupidity before it snowballs. Don't brush off that odd choice or weird vibe, call it what it is. Whether it's a friend's reckless plan or a trend gaining steam. Naming it early gives you a chance to steer clear or step in. Step 2 is moving fast. Stupidity doesn't wait for permission. It thrives when no one challenges it. If you see it creeping into your circle or your workplace, don't sit back hoping it'll fizzle out. Speak up, act decisively, and cut it off at the knees. It's not about being harsh. It's about protecting what matters. Your peace, your goals, your people. The longer you let it fester, the harder it gets to undo. And here's the big one. Never assume it's harmless. That's the trap Sepola warned us about. You might think, oh, it's just one dumb move, but those moves stack up fast. A single spark of stupidity can burn down everything you've built if you don't take it seriously. Stay sharp, keep your eyes open, and treat it like the threat it is. You're not powerless here. You've got the tools to limit its reach, and that's where your growth lies. This isn't about turning into a cynic or seeing everyone as a walking disaster. It's about getting real with yourself and the world around you. Stupidity's out there. It's baked into the human experience, but so is your ability to rise above it. Every time you spot it, sidestep it, or shut it down, you're not just surviving. You're sharpening your own clarity, your own strength. That's personal development in action. Not just chasing some shiny ideal, but mastering the messy reality of life. Sepola's theory leaves us with a strange mix of caution and hope. Yes, stupid people are more dangerous than criminals. Their chaos is wilder, wider, and tougher to tame. You've seen it in history's wreckage and felt it in your own corners of the world. But you're not stuck watching it unfold. You've got the numbers, the awareness, and the will to push back. It starts with you. How you think, how you act, how you refuse to let the senseless stuff win. So here we are, at the end of this deep dive, and I'm curious. What's your take? Have you tangled with stupidity's fallout in your own life? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your story or your spin on Sepola's ideas. And if this clicked for you, give it a like and hit that subscribe button. We're in this growth game together, and I've got plenty more to share. Let's keep the conversation going, one smart step at a time.